to this session to Edpuzzle. So, or not, oh my gosh, I've done Edpuzzle many times to Desmos. So this is my first time doing Desmos, just so you guys know, presenting Desmos. I've used it a lot, but here's the slides. There's a bit.ly forum, be a lot easier, Salina Student High School District Desmos. And then the sign in, please make sure you sign in so you can get paid. There's that. And then please, if you could just tell me 0 to 5, what's your comfort level with Desmos? 0, you just learned about it, and 5 is you love it and you just want to learn more and play more around with it. So with Desmos, what I've learned is there's always something new. And I just found out last night that there's a geometry feature in Desmos, and it's like you can do constructions and transformations in Desmos. And I was like, what? So I will probably be playing around with that and trying to figure out how to use that this semester with my Math 1 class. So thank you, those of you who have cameras on. I totally get it, the camera on or off thing. It doesn't bother me either way. Oh, hey, Stephanie. And Tina, there's a lot of you. No, a lot of you. Cool. Okay, so here's the plan for today. So we have until 11 o'clock for me to present Desmos. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. Can I have someone volunteer to monitor the chat for me? Good morning, Chloe. Thanks, Stephanie. All right, cool, Jennifer, thank you. Yeah, so Jennifer, if I miss a question, can you just unmute and just tell me? So if I get caught up in presenting, I've gotten last semester, I got pretty good at looking at both, but as you could see in the earlier session, I do get distracted sometimes by the chat. So I might not look at it during certain parts. So when we go back up, earlier I said Lynn Siddell was supposed to present Desmos and she got sick. And so I stepped in yesterday because I love Jen, and she said, please, can you do this for me? And I said, okay. So if there's any typos or anything, please forgive all of that. And then if you have questions, we didn't go over something, then just let me know. All right, so a lot of this stuff I took from Paul Blakemeister, who's also presented Desmos, and then I kind of added my own little twist to it. So first thing, make sure you've signed in and that you got paid. We're gonna do the introduction part is just now until about 11 o'clock. I'm just gonna walk you through some things, and it'll be a lot more of me showing you different tools. And if you wanna let me know, like, hey, like ask more questions about a specific tool, then let me know. So I'm trying to like just give you an overview of it. I'm gonna give you some time to explore teach.desmos because that's where I use, oh, sorry, Chloe. Here's the sign in. And then there's a bit.ly on every slide that has the link to these slides. So let me just put that in here for you. All right, there you go. Oh, wait, what did I just do? No, stop. Okay, there we go. All right, there's your bit.ly for the slides. And then teach.desmos is where all of my lessons that I do with Desmos come from usually, and then that's where you're going to create your own lessons. You non-math folks that are in here, and a lot of you don't teach math. Desmos, that teach.desmos is where you can build all of your activities. And then I'm going to give you, we'll take a break, and then 11:15 we're going to do the sandbox playtime, and really that's just your time to make whatever you want. And then we'll wrap it up, have you post on the Padlet what you did, and then do the evaluation for me. Any questions or things that you wanted to do that I don't have listed here? All right. So I want to do real quick, who am I? Those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Carolyn Wormley. I'm at Alvarez. This is my 4th year at Alvarez. I'm a wife and I have 3 boys, twins that are 10 and a 4-year, almost 5-year-old that's at preschool. Thank goodness for preschool and a family that we've been in a bubble with that has my twins. So I can actually be at home by myself, oh my gosh, and be able to present. I went to Humboldt State and for my bachelor's, and then my credential, and then I went to Concordia Online for my master's in math curriculum instruction. And my 13th year teaching middle school for 9 years, and then this is my 4th year in high school. This year I'm doing Math 1 and the Transition to College Level Math class, which is my favorite all-time math class ever to teach. If you get the opportunity, you should teach it. It's amazing. And then I learned about Desmos last several years as I've been teaching, and every year I learn more and more, and I just experiment more and more with it. It's really forgiving, and it's a tool that it's kind of limitless. Like it's very, very low floor and very, very high ceiling. The artwork I showed you in the slam is work students figured out how to create and did as an art project. So when I looked at their coding, all the equations, it blew me away. So there's a ton that kids can do in Desmos. And then this last semester, I used Desmos as a teaching tool a lot more, and I got tons of positive feedback from my students. They really liked Desmos. Hey, Steve. They really liked Desmos, and they really liked the polygraph. They told me it was one of their most favorite things that we did. So it's a little bit about who I am. That's because the pictures are always fun. These are my twins, and then that's my baby and my husband. And then we went to the beach sometime after Thanksgiving, and so it's pretty fun, beach sunset picture. So there's my family. Again, I said I got out to do this last night around 4 or so. And so Paul Blankmeister stepped out and sent me all of his slides and his handouts and activities. And so I took them and I added my own flair to them and added some stuff in. He has a really cool reference sheet that's right here. And I will put this in the chat. I would highly recommend that you use this. You have to make a copy. So it'll give you a screen will come up, I can show you, I think. So if I click on it, it'll force you to change what I'm showing you. It'll make you make a copy. So just click on make a copy, and then there's your reference sheet. It will pop up. So, and now it's going to be in your drive. And so it's asking you to request access. Oh, hold up. Oh no. All right. If this doesn't work, then I will do something else and get it to you another way. Try that. What happens? Does that link work? No? All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to figure it out, and I'll give you this reference sheet so you can have it, but I don't want to take time right this second for it. Yeah, that's what, oh, okay, Jem, thank you. Make a copy. I can do that real fast. All right.
Carolyn, I think you have to, the forced copy can only come from your copy. You can't.
That's what it is. Okay. Gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna do this. I made a copy of my own. Let's see if I can do it in a minute, and then we'll do it. And if I can't, then I will do it another way in our break. Thank you for your patience. All right. So I'm gonna say anyone with the link can view, try this one. Thank you for your patience, you guys. So this reference sheet has just some of the basic, okay, I see people coming into it, awesome. So this has just some of the basics that I'm gonna talk about. Again, Paul Blankmeister made this, and it really, when I was looking through this, it was very helpful for me as a teacher who knows already how to do a lot of this stuff. It's a really good reference sheet. So the regressions was one thing that I have been learning recently how to do. In my senior class, we did a couple. So it's all in here for you. So again, this is made by Paul Blankmeister, who's at my site, but I'm using it in here. All right, so that's for you to have and to use. I'd recommend having that open as a tab, and then just so that you can access it when you need to reference. And then it's your, you could make your own copy and then add your own notes to it. That's probably what I would do if I was in this session. Okay, so let me go. So during this, Jennifer, you're gonna be my monitor for the chat, thank you. So if you want me to share anything, then please just let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I recommend that you have a split screen, or if you have two monitors, have one up of Desmos and then one up of this presentation so you can kind of follow along with both of them. Those of you that were 5s, I will not be offended whatsoever if you like half listen to me and then just go play in Desmos. Use this time for what you need to do. So some of this might be a review, some of this might be new to you. So that's just what you want to do is what you want to do. So some norms real quick. Please just, participate with me. If you have any questions, ask them. I can't read your mind. We're like, how many miles apart? Tahoe, Adrian. And then if we're having a conversation, just one speaker at a time, please help with everything. And then math teachers in here, think critically, mathematically. And then I'm really curious, those of you that are not math teachers, because I know there's some of you in here that are not math teachers, how are you thinking you're going to use this in your class? I'm really curious about that. And so at the end of this session, I want to have a conversation about what you're thinking how you're going to use this, especially like in art and science, or in art and language in Spanish. I'm really curious how you're going to use it. And then if there's anything else that you wanted to add or want to know, then just let me know. And this is being recorded, just so you guys know. I said that earlier on the slide. They said it, but I'm just going to let you know again. Here's the learning goal for today. Can somebody unmute and read the learning goal?
I can do it.
Thank you.
So today's learning goal: teachers will be able to feel confident to use Desmos in their classroom to enhance mathematics instruction for.
Oh, but I think she got cut out. So enhance mathematics, I'm going to even say other content instruction for distant learning and when we go back to the classroom. And I put normal classroom because who knows what it's going to look like when we go back. Mike, as far as drafting drawings, I have no idea. You'll have to play with it and let me know. I'm sure if you were to do a Google search that said drafting drawings in Desmos, you might find your answer. So there's a lot of work you can do with coding in Desmos also. I'm just not familiar with it. So real quick, what's Desmos? It's a free online graphing calculator. It has a scientific calculator. It has a geometry tool, and it's online. It's free. It integrates with Google Classroom. Lots of built-in activities with teach.desmos, which I'll be working with. It was created by Eli Luberoff. I'm going to probably say that wrong. But he was actually a teacher and then went back to making this. And a lot of the Dan Meyer, the new math teachers that know Dan Meyer, he is also one of the most famous or more popular teachers that is a programmer for Desmos. And what I really appreciate about Desmos is most of the programmers and people that work at Desmos are educators first, and then they went into this as a passion. And so they use all the math research that you need to support math instruction. Any of you that go to the CMC at a Stillomar conference, they always have a couple sessions that are there, and they're really informative. They're very helpful. They're always expanding what they have. So in Desmos, you can do a ton of things in the classroom. I would ask a student, like, here's this picture, a little video. We're going to show it in a second. And the task for the students and for you, you can do this on paper or just like, with your finger, what would it look like? You need to sketch a graph that represents the height of the man's waist during the next 15 seconds. So if you were to have your students do this in the classroom, probably would have them do it on paper and then, or on a whiteboard and have them show it to you, but here's how Desmos can be used. So first I'm going to show the quick little 15-second video and think about what your students might draw or what you would draw. There's no sound. All right, here we go. So in the classroom, I probably show that a couple times, and I would just say I want a graph that represents the height of his waist during the 15 seconds as he climbs up the ladder, stands in the middle, and then goes down the ladder. And so if you know anything about the 3-act math, then a lot of teachers, that was something that we did a while ago, probably people still do now. And there's like, questions you ask, and there's like this whole like process. And so this is one of those activities. And so, ooh, thanks, Crystal. So here's a couple responses that you could have students create on Desmos as one of their activities. So you can, in your activity builder, given the video, have them draw this graph and then now you can share the graph to your students. And what's really cool is you can just show them the graph, and then the conversations that come up can be really awesome. And so just in the chat real quick, like, what are some observations that you think students might come up with when they see each other's work? Like, what conversations do you think people are gonna have when they see each other's graphs?
I was gonna say, why do you have a flat line, or why is there a section on the graph where it's flat? I mean, that would be a question.
Yeah, someone said, why are there dots? And so what's cool is, like, you can show this work without students' names. And so you're not criticizing a student at all, you're criticizing the work. You're not even criticizing, you're asking questions about it. And so we can see this, like, 4 huge different things here, different answers. And so with Desmos, like, I can see what the kids are doing. I can show, oh, see, there you go, continuous or not continuous. I can show these to my students and have this conversation in our virtual classroom. And so Desmos is just another tool to be able to have that happen. So I'm having students like hold it up to the camera and show their work. My own children, my 4th graders, their teacher, everybody has to have cameras on, and like she always has them work on the whiteboard and show the whiteboard, but that's not happening in the high school level for us. And so my kids just don't do it. But in Desmos, I can expect a response, and then I can share a response. A lot more kid-centered conversations. So it's just like a little, thing you could do in there. You can use it for art. So again, I'm not going to show you all these right now, but if you want to explore and play with it, you can click on the link and you can see all the math that is done to create these. So these are the first place winners for 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. So you'll see the Desmos has like some responses to their work, what they were really impressed with. So there's a couple features. I want to know, because we only have a half hour until our break, are you more interested in learning about using teach.desmos for building lessons, or are you interested in like, how does the graphing calculator work? Because I have both, and I don't think I have enough time to do well with both of them. So if you could, well, they have non-math teachers in here. Okay, so lessons, building lessons. Okay, that's what I kind of thought. Quizzes, yes, so you could use this for quizzes too, the same way you were going to be building lessons. So let's do that. So in the slides, you have these activities you can access and do on your own. I'd recommend that you do them because it does help with you teaching your students how to use the different tools. But let's do this slide first. If you haven't already, excuse me, it's not a COVID cough, it's an allergy cough. If you haven't already created an account in Desmos, it's linked with Google. Can you just go and make that so that you have your link? It's much easier to do everything when you've signed in. All right, so if you could just go to desmos.com and then sign up if you haven't already. If you have already, then just log in. That way you have access to everything. I have learned that Desmos is very, very teacher and student friendly because, again, they're made by educators and they want to take away as many headaches as possible for you so you can do the best job with your instruction. So when you sign up, just agree to their statements. I'd recommend that you sign in with Google. Makes things a lot easier. And if you have any need help with signing in, then please let me know. You could say done once you've signed in. That would be helpful as well. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna skip the next couple of slides. I want to just kind of show you what they are. And so there's a graphing calculator that you can use. That's the one all those artworks was done with, and that's what I use with my students a lot in class. Things you can put in there. So this is just kind of how you can do stuff. The regressions, linear regressions, it shows you how to do that. It shows you how to use the sliders so they can explore different functions. I've done some pretty cool tasks where they have to explore in Math 2. I did one with parabolas, and they had to learn from standard form like what A, B, and C does. And so using the sliders, it really makes it clear like as things change. So if you want to play with that, it's there. Again, during the sandbox time, you can go back and play in there. So teach.desmos is where it's at. So if you want help with anything that I'm not sharing, or if you're like, I'm a pro, I want to just do this thing and I want to focus on this, then learn.desmos.com has tons of tutorials. So I'm going to share my, or change my share real quick so that I can share my whole screen. And then I'm going to probably be going back and forth between Desmos and here. So learn.desmos, open up that tab. Can you guys see the Desmos slide or page, or do you see my slides? What do you see?
We see the Desmos slide.
Okay, thank you. So, so if you want to learn how to do any of this stuff, it's right here, how to get started, how to use distant learning tools, and the other tools, the geometry tools, what I was playing around with last night, because we actually, as a math team, we decided we were going to not do a ton of constructions, because how do you do constructions with distant learning? But then I learned that you can do them, and it shows you how to do them. And I saw some people had activities where they actually used the geometry tool to create perpendicular lines or bisectors or whatever. So it was really cool and translated over to doing it with the compass and ruler on paper. So lots of different new tools that you can use here, learn about it. So I would highly recommend that you bookmark this page if you're thinking about using Desmos. Oh my gosh. All right, so do you want, okay, so let's go to teach.desmos.com. Let's go in there. I think I'm already signed in. So once you signed in, it's easy. You just like click on the link and there you go. So in Teacher Desmos, you can search for an activity. You can see what you've done already. So I can see my activity history and see things that I've done already. I can go back and be like, okay, I want to see what my students did for this activity. This was last semester. I think the links are good for up to a year, but I'm looking at this dashboard and I can see what students did the work, didn't do the work. If it was a right or wrong answer, they had the check mark or the X. So really like quick things to be able to look back at. You can look at snapshots, which means if I want to like, this is when you want to sequence and like do your math lesson, you want to highlight students, you can actually take snapshots of their work and sequence how you want to review their work, just like you would do when you're anticipating and you're trying to figure out how you want to go over the students' answers in the classroom. As a teacher, you can again like see what it looks like as a teacher. You can see what it looks like as a student, what that slide looks like. If I go back to, I want to go back to my summary. My summary is usually the best place for me. I want to see how this student did on this slide. I can just click on it and I can see what they did. And I can see what equations that they wrote. So in this one, they had to actually write equations to get lines to go through the dots. And that's why I could see the check or the X, because it either worked or didn't work. And so it gave them one line and they had to do the rest of them. But again, this one was just playing around with slope. The intercept was the same for all of them. So this was a challenge my students did, and they really liked it. And so I'm looking through this one student's work right now to see all of what they did. And then at the end of this one, I believe this was the one where they had to, did they create a line? Or yeah, they created a picture. Not this one. There was one where they created a picture and then with dots, and the students had to draw lines to go through those dots in their picture. And the kids really liked that because they could create their own thing and then see what everybody else did and like play around with everybody else's work too. So it's kind of cool. It's really interactive in that case. So if like when you're looking at something, you want to go back, you just go back to this D and it takes you right back to your homepage for Teacher Desmos. Again, like there's the math tools right here. If you want to go straight into one of the tools, like I said, this is used in testing, the state testing. And so if you want to go to your test practice, it shows you the different apps that are available for that state. So you choose your assessment. So say for the CAS test, and I'm teaching high school. So I would click on this one. My juniors would be taking this, and I can start practice and I can see this is the science or the graphing calculator that the kids are going to see and be able to use on that test. Or if I wanted to go back and for the other tests, you just kind of play around with it and see like what different tools are there and like what they use. So play around in there. Resources, again, like you need to know how to do something, go to Learn Desmos. You have accessibility things that you want to look at, go here, okay? So there's lots of resources all in the front. What I think is cool is there's always these like featured activities. And I was like, ooh, that looks cool. So I can click on it and I can get a preview of what the lesson looks like right here. And then if I want to see what the students are going to see, I can click on student preview and actually see what the students are going to see, do it myself. And then it just gives you teacher moves and sample responses. And so if you're like, you're not really sure about it, you can still access this right here. Some of them that are created have this, some don't. So when I create stuff that I am using, then I don't always put teacher moves in here and sample responses, but the Desmos activities, a lot of times they're already in here. Do you import your class roster or do you have to, the students sign in. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. Chloe, I'll show you in a minute how students get in there to see them. And they sign in through a link through Google. So their names come up, they don't put their names in. And then you can assign in Google Classroom too, and it's actually an assignment and it will like kind of self-grade for you. So yeah, the getting to know you activities, Adrian, are really cool in there. So if you just type in like, what do you want? So getting to know you, then they have, like, this is only one of them and there's a lot more depending on what you search at, activity that you can use. And then if you like the activity, you can say plus, and you can add it to your collection. And so if you don't already have, like if I want to use this for like, I want a new collection and it's just going to be icebreakers, or no, getting to know you. So if I want a bunch in here, then I can create a collection and then I want to add this to this collection. And now as I have it, and now if I want to use it, then I can go to your collections, and that was this one. And then I can create this. So I can share, I can create, how do I, oh, access it, there we go. And so once I'm in here, then I can, how come I don't see what I always see? Help me there, it's activity sessions. There we go. You can assign it. So you can assign this to your class if you already have your classes imported, or you can do a single session code. And that's what I use a lot of the time, is a single session code. And so I can, my view dashboard, when I first open it, my students see this. And so they just go to student.desmos.com and they type this in. You can give them a link. So for example, here's the link for that one. And the kids just join, click on the link, they sign in with Google, and then I can see in live time as they sign in, I can see who's signing in, and then I can see their progress. So you can do this asynchronous or synchronously. And then if depending on what it is, you can then decide if you want to go over it with the class or not. There's lots of different ways that as a teacher, you can use Desmos for your instruction. So in the beginning of the semester, I would probably do this, and then it's really kind of fun if you do it anonymously. So I can click on this little like disguise button, and now Yukimo, you just turned into Isaac Newton. And so it keeps the same person every time that you go back and forth with anonymizing it. But now I can be like, hey, so here's a picture everybody drew. Now, who do you think did this one? And so you can kind of play whatever kind of games you want with that, or you can just share information without sharing names. Can you import Google Slides?
Oh, and then also Adrian made a good point, is that when you Google search for Desmos and then whatever subject matter you're looking for, you get a lot more results than just searching in Desmos program. So,
ooh, okay, that's good to know. I haven't done that.
If you have a Twitter account, there's a lot of @Desmos with a lot of people doing some really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Again, like super low floor, super, super high ceiling, and it's shared, like it's like one of those like things you can share. Crystal, I don't know if you can import a slide deck, but you can insert backgrounds and you can add activities to it. So that's what I'll show you next. I'm kind of going off of my slides a little bit, but that's okay. So if you wanted to make your own, so I mean, you could search, and there's tons of things in here, like the sky's the limit, really and truly. There's so much out there. And it's really easy to take it. And then I'm like, I want this one, add to my collection, cool. And so I might add a bunch to a collection and then go back later and decide which one I want to use. So it just kind of depends on what I'm, what level of thinking and planning I'm at, what stage I'm at. And so today it'd be kind of cool for you just to, explore what's out there for what you do. I'd be really curious, Crystal, again, like, and Stephanie, you're in here, I know you teach art. If you were to type in like basic art lessons in Desmos on Google and see what comes up, like, who knows? I'd be really curious to see what you find. If you want to make your own activity and you don't like what's there, like you're very specific, I want this, I already know what I want, you go to custom and you can build your own activities. So these are activities that I've built myself, and you see test, you can see practice one because I practiced a lot. You can make a new polygraph activity, which is the one where it's like the yes, no, like clue activity, or you can make a new one. And so when you make a new one, so I'm gonna just say like January Desmos PD sample. So you do that. If you want it to be private only to you right now, you don't want it to be released, then you just click on private. If you want anybody who can get the link to see it, you can click on that. And then just what is your description? So it's going to put sample, but you could put whatever you need to put in there. You also have the tool if you want to do math type, you can use math type in there. So it's up to you what you want to do. So then I create new activity, and then here's sky's the limit. So you can have, and I made one really fast for exit ticket today. Literally like 5 minutes. I knew my questions and I put in what I want, that was it. So the first one, you add a title and then you choose what you want to be on there. So I'm just gonna say introduction. And then you can have students put in notes, text input, math input, multiple choice question, which you would then put your questions in the right answer. So that would be like if you're gonna do a quiz or an assessment, you could do that. Check boxes, a list that's ordered that they have to move things up and down. You could insert a graph, a sketch, media. So that'd be like a video or a picture you want to insert in there, a table, filled out or not filled out, the buttons that tells them what to do. And then there's even more, like if you click on these little dots here, then you can like have fun and be crazy and do all kinds of programming. Crystal, for the importing the background, I think if you do the sketch, there's a place here where you put background. So you could either do a graph background, or you can have it blank, or you could insert an image. So that
Carolyn,
I think, yes.
Let me interrupt on your
Please.
end. Are you zoomed in like 150%, or can you keep it at 100%? It's kind of difficult for me to follow when you type.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how everybody else feels, but.
No, that's good. No, that's good feedback. Okay. I'm not super zoomed in. I'm kind of popping around a little bit too. So no, it's okay. It's all right. All right. So just let me, if you have a question too, just like you did, just ask me, let me know. So Crystal, I think this is where you might be able to put in your own picture by putting it there. Has anybody actually, and this is pulled up what I have on my computer, anybody actually done that part? Those of you that were 5?
Yes.
Yeah? Was it easy to use and helpful?
Very easy.
What did you do? Can you just share?
Ooh, let me go dig in my Desmos real quick.
Sweet. Okay. Awesome. See, we're going to share already. So you don't have to have all this stuff. If you like, oh, I don't want that one in there, you can just delete the component. And so I'm going to delete all this stuff. So usually I would only have like one, that one, you can convert it. You can change what it was. So I mean, there's a lot of things that you can kind of play with on there. I'll bet you make Google Slides into an image, and that, yeah, probably. I mean, you could always do a screenshot. So like you would just screenshot whatever your slide is and then put it in there. Absolutely. And so like you could add on to your next one. So again, you can have as many slides as you want. I've learned with my students that like really they kind of cap out about 8 or 9 slides. and that you really like, I would rather have them do 2 different activities broken up than have one really long slide deck or like one really long Desmos activity. So again, like you know, just like in the classroom, you should, you know, try 15, 20 minutes like per activity. So there's Jennifer's. Let's see what it is.
So I made this playing around for PE, and on slide 4, you can see that I added a baseball field or softball field, whatever it is, so that they could draw. I mean, I teach math, but I was kind of playing around with possibilities. They could draw positions and whatnot.
Oh yeah, so they can actually like draw on top of there, like where would the players be? Cool. And then you can change it to like what color it is. So you'd be like, in red, do this, and green. So kind of like in Canvas, that same draw over feature. And then you can also draw lines on there. So sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Does that help, Crystal? Yeah, sweet. Awesome. Yay for sharing. I'm all about sharing, you guys. It's all about, it's about taking what, that's what the these slides came from, honestly. It's like taking what you can from other people and then making it your own, and then giving credit where credit is due. So, all right. So there's your custom. And again, like we're gonna have the sandbox time to play. And so I highly suggest that you play with that. That's gonna be probably do non-math teachers in here, what you do the most. But again, like, let me just see if I can do like art and see what comes up. So they, oh, see, there we go. So they're creating this one does, there's tessellation artwork, there's graphing, baseball war. Okay, I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Like when you, I wonder if I Spanish one, what happens if I do that? So again, like you just search stuff up and see what comes up. So that's not it. All right. So again, I would definitely Google and see what you could find in the Google for sure. So that's the basics of teach.desmos. It's really like, as you start playing around with it, pretty teacher friendly. And if you have questions when you don't know how to do something, you go to resources and you go to learn Desmos, and then you have all the different things. They have videos on how to do stuff. And then they have like, like there's so many videos, and if you want to know how to do something, you can add co-teachers. I forgot about that. You can add a co-teacher to it. So if you are in a co-taught class, like Chloe, you're a co-teacher. So like you and whoever your co-teacher is can have the same one, so you both can see each other's work or see the students' work. So you can have co-teachers. You can, as soon as the students start working, you can see what they did. So it's like literally like, it's, you know, you might have to like click on their screen and like refresh it to see what's happening. For synchronous, and then with synchronous, you can like give them that positive feedback, like, hey, awesome, good job. I see, Jose, you got this. All right, great, Crystal, I see you got that. Oh, you have one more left, let's go. So you can do that encouragement in your classroom with it. And then the asynchronous, again, like once they do it, you can go in and see it. So you don't get notifications from Desmos that things were done, but you do, like, you can go back and see that this was done, or you can see like what their progress was for sure. So just looking back here. Oh yeah, you give them type feedback. Where is that? I don't know if I've never done that, Jennifer.
I think it's kind of new. If you open up one of yours.
Okay, so I'm in activity history, and let's see, this one has 28 of them did it. Oh wait, that's polygraph though. They're not going to have it on polygraph. Just kidding. Let me go back. I'll show you guys polygraph in a second. Let's see, they're coin capture. This is the one they've had really good time with.
So see, you've already given feedback on Anili and Ariane's, because it's got the little check mark. So click on that.
Oh, did I?
Oh, maybe not. So if you go, Adrian, help me out here. Where is it? Maybe, oh, there, right there. Right, it's, see the expand to full screen? Yes, that one. So this is areas I give a feedback, right? Oh, cool. And you also can put the equation in there. Yeah. Sweet. There you go. Thank you. Learning stuff.
Yeah, so you can give them the feedback also. Sweet. That'd be really cool, especially if it was like a test, you could give them that feedback right there. I could see me transforming all of my tests that I had them do in either Jamboard or in slides and putting them into Desmos, because I could give them much better feedback this way, I think, than I could in the Jamboard. That's good to know. All right. Any other questions you have right now about, I haven't gone over like how to assign them into Google Classroom, any of that stuff yet. I didn't really have that as part of my plan. The biggest thing is, I would say, like, if once you find one that you want to do, so let's do this paint activity. I have no idea what it is, but it looks cool. I looked through it, I love it, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to add this to my collection first, and I'm going to put it for my senior class. And then I can just go right here and that same Find Good Activity Sessions, and I'm going to assign this to my students. And so if you already have imported your Google Classroom classes, then I can just click right here to this class. I want to assign to that class, and then I'm going to hit assign. And then the students see it as an assignment in their Google Classroom. I'm not going to right now because I don't want to like have them be like, what is this assignment? I don't want to deal with that. But you can also manage your classes. And so in that was right up here, your classes. Again, I got to from a different point, but it's right there on this main teacher page, manage classes. You can add a new class. And so import from Google Classroom, and then you can see, like, I want to import these are who I have next anyways. I'm going to add my 3 classes, and now those classes are good to go. So you already know who your classes are for starting next week. So you could do that in our sandbox time, and then you can start assigning them their gain value activities or whatever you want to do. So there's something you can work on during the sandbox time. So that was really fast. I have a lot of this stuff in the slides also. And here we kind of went off, but that's okay. There's some other ideas and activities that Paul and I both have used and like a lot. Marble slides is really fun. Polygraph. And during the sandbox, if you want me to do a lesson, you want to play around with it and see the student view, we can do that during the sandbox time for sure. So here's what we're going to do the turtle time trials was a fun one. So there's lots more. Any questions? Because it is almost 11 o'clock. That was way fast, and we went over a lot. Any questions you have for me right now? Thank you, Adrian and Jennifer, for speaking up and supporting me on this.
Our PLC is quite into it, so we're like totally geeking out on it.
That's cool. A couple of teachers on our side really are into it, and I've used it a lot, but like I'm not like geeking out on it yet. But like as I was preparing for this last night / this morning, I was like, this is really cool stuff, and I don't use it for its maximum potential at this point. So again, like super low floor, really high ceiling. You can do, like, if you can think about it, there's a way you can do it, especially with the lesson design. So if you don't have any questions, then it's break time officially from 11 to 11:15. There is going to be another sign in that I will post at 11:15 to sign in for the sandbox time. If you don't want to or you can't stay, then please complete this evaluation for me. Here's the link. So there's the evaluation link. If you aren't going to be able to stay, I have the link at the end of the slides again if you are going to stay. But that's really about it for the formal presentation time. It was really fast. Do you have any questions right now that you want to see or ask?
Hey, Carolyn, I got one question. Yeah. This is Steve. You're going to be in the sandbox to answer questions? Yeah,
it's going to be this Zoom, but honestly, I'm not going to go anywhere. I might unmute and stand up a little bit and move around for the next few minutes, but I'm going to be here. And so it's just Zoom. So I could have people go into breakout rooms and work together. If you want to work together on something, if you want to do subject or grade level specific PLC work together, then you can do that. if you want to stay in the main room or just kind of work on your own thing and listen in to what whatever comes up in here, then you can do that. I probably would do that personally because that's just who I am, but that's for you. Yeah, so it might be helpful to show how to create and cut. Yeah, for sure. I just barely did a little bit of it, but we can do it more in depth for sure if someone wants to do that. So the rest of the time from 11:15 until 12 is really just for you for what you want to do. So I can have somebody else present their screen and they can create, and then we can just like watch what they're doing and answer questions or like help them, support them as they're creating. So there's lots of different options. But I will be here for sure. And again, like I'm no way near an expert. I just know how to use the basics of it and I wanted to share. And I'm stepping in someone. Any other questions anybody has? All right, I'm going to do what I do in my classroom, and I'm going to put on a song for a break. And then at 11:15, we're going to come back, and then it is sandbox time. I'll leave you a new post at 11:15 so that you can sign in again so you can get paid for that hour worth of work. Or no, they're getting, I don't know if they're doing 45 minutes or an hour. I don't know how that's working specifically. So I'm going to have music going. So if you have any questions for me, and then just put them in the chat.
Thanks, Jim. So Adrian, yeah, we don't use the algebra tiles specifically, but as Jim said, intervention tools if needed. I believe somebody in the middle school level, I saw it one of my Math Saturdays, actually created algebra tiles to use with Desmos. I just have the kids draw them personally, like on paper. So I'd have them just kind of sketch it in there, like what does it look like? But I know, do you guys use it in the middle school a lot? Because CPM uses algebra tiles to teach. Yeah, completing the square for math too. Yeah, Erica Lynn, that's right. That's who it was. Are they in your PLC? Okay. Yeah. They were explaining that during the beginning part of Math Saturday in December. It's the last one that I went to. I don't even know what day that was anymore. Yeah. But I think that was like using the coding, right? Yeah, I don't know if I would use Desmos to like actually manipulate algebra tiles. I would use it as like a, take a screenshot, insert a picture of what it looks like on the applet, or like just draw it.
Yeah, Erica Lynn is writing the coding program for the algebra tiles. And we as a PLC discussed using them just because the group we're getting hasn't had math in 9 months.
Yep.
So just to provide the extra support. I just wasn't sure how long the tiles were extended beyond middle school.
They're used in math
that endures year after year.
Yeah, like Jimlyn said, it's used in math too for completing the square. A lot of teachers use it. And so it's helpful for them to know the content of how to use the algebra tiles. So they understand like this is an X, this is a unit, and this is an X squared. So they understand that concept from earlier. Then we can be like, remember, how to do this thing? Show me these couple of things. Now let's use it. So they have it more internalized. Yeah. So definitely, yeah, especially for your visual students, that for the completing the square, like it makes completing the square make sense once you have algebra tiles. So
awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jen, for catching that. I don't know if any of you like have the news on in the background with like what's happening at Congress right now. It's kind of crazy. So I don't always watch the news, but yeah. Anyone have any questions? I'd love to know, what are you working on right now? Are you building? Are you finding cool tools?
I just took an activity and I'm editing it and adding a few more slides to it for a quick, let's see if how the students are doing since they haven't had math in a while. So just like a quick little review.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I know we're gonna have to do a lot more of the diagnostic tests to find out like what do our kids actually know and what are we gonna have to go back and reteach. I know in our Math 1 PLC, we actually had to go back and reteach how to graph a line and what slope and y-intercept was and how to use it when we were in, like we were trying to have them just do anything and we had to reteach all of that. So it took like 3 weeks to go back and reteach for some of the kids. Adrian, you have awesome stuff. Is there an easy way that you can in Desmos like see a teacher and all of the work that they have that's been published? That is public?
I haven't found a way. I'm looking through my emails because they were shared with us.
Okay.
So I'm going back through my emails and clicking on her links to the Desmos lessons. Yeah. So cool. I haven't found one. If there is one, I'd like to know if it'll make it easier.
I know there's like the most popular ones, and those are where I get a lot of the stuff that I do are through the most popular. What's cool is you can create them and then share them. So I know it is overwhelming, Tina. Like you just, it takes time. That's why you learn as you go. You just start one lesson at a time is where you have to start. So, but at least you're getting familiar with it. You get to know like how Desmos looks and how it works. And so then you can look and, I would start by finding lessons you like, and then you can just you could just delete slides that you don't like. Sometimes there'll be a lesson that has 20 slides and I only like the first 10. So I just delete the second 10 and then I can just use the first 10. So you can, depending on where the lesson is going.
One of the little tricks that I learned is that if you have a specific standard, let's say I want to look up a lesson on equivalent expressions, I just type in Google, I type in equivalent expressions and then follow it up with Desmos activity, and it'll give you ones that aren't published in Desmos when you do the search in Desmos, and it'll give you other ones. And it'll open up the door and you start to find teachers that you like that have created them.
This activity. We'll just go straight to that activity. Cool. Yeah, I would like to be able to follow a teacher in Desmos, right? And like see all their stuff that they have. That'd be cool. Yeah, so what I was talking about editing is you could copy and edit. So then I can change the title here, and then I can just go through, and if I like the slide, I can keep it. If I don't like the slide, then I can just click on it, or I can delete it right here. Delete screen. And now that one's gone. And then if I want to add stuff to it, then I can add to it also. Just click on this plus to add a slide in that spot. So if you want to do like a follow-up or something, then you can do that. So I would definitely, if you're just getting started, I would definitely start with just find lessons to use and get familiar with using it. And then you can start building your own. My kids are at my friend's house and I just got a text. Wyatt twisted his ankle. I'm like, oh, great. It's been an interesting challenge having kids to manage all their stuff and teach. Here's one that Jim just did. Oh, you did. Oh, so you took Scott's workout from the workbook and then just put it in here. Oh. What's kind of cool too is like you could use these in your groups. You did Nearpod. I tried Nearpod like for a few lessons and I said, forget it. I'm not doing this. Yeah, I was like, nope, I'm not using Nearpod a whole lot. I think it's good for a lot of stuff, but I didn't like it as much. Yeah. And then also I found that students, like if you do student paced, then they could go wherever they wanted to go. So you don't have the teacher control. And then if you did teacher control pace, then the students can only go where you were. And if you weren't doing it at that moment, then they couldn't go back to see the slides. So I did a couple of things and I was like, yeah, no, not doing that. I'm doing other stuff instead. So I stuck with slides and then I had a bunch of Jamboards. And then I did like slides, Jamboards, Desmos, were like what I really stuck with the whole time. I think it has some cool features, but for math specifically, I don't think it was as helpful. But you could do this and then like you could have kids in a breakout room and have them work through these together. And especially a lot of our kids haven't gone to get the, they haven't gone to get their workbooks, then you can just put it in here. So Jimlyn, are these pictures, the screenshots? Yeah, these are screenshots, right? You just like typed in the information. And then they're gonna color in. That's cool. So it's basically just like an interactive workbook now that you've done it this way. And then I can put their answer in and then explain it. What's cool too is that they can share with the class and you can select either they can see each other's answers or not see each other's answers. So a lot of times it'll be like if they put in a response, if you say they can see each other's answers, they see it after they've already responded. And then if you wanted to be able to do that. So they have to do their own thinking and then they can see each other's responses.
How do you do that? See the responses, like whether you
sweet. And then here with this multiple choice question, then you can go in and you can see real quick, like do a real quick formative assessment or like a CFU to be able to be like, oh, they all got this right or wrong. In the summary for, yeah. In the summary slides, but I don't have, I can't look at the summary when I don't have the thing, but yeah, the summary is cool. So I can show you guys that if I go to, let me go to activity. Let's do this one. So I can click on a slide and then I can see what everybody has. So I can see these are the lines that they made, and then I can see these are the equations that they wrote. And if I want to see more of it, I can just make it bigger. And then you also, when I was showing that snapshot earlier, if you want to showcase this for other students and you want to like sequence it, you just click this little like snapshot button. And now it took a snapshot. And let's say I want that one and this one and this one and that one, because I haven't done that yet, but that's okay. Then I can go up here to my snapshots and I can order it so that I can decide which one I want to go where and when I want to show them. And then I didn't talk about pacing either. On here with pacing, you can make it so kids only can see like these 3 slides right now. So I can say restrict to screen 5 through 7. And now all students can see are these 3 slides. And I love doing that because I can then be like, nope, you're all looking at this slide right now. And they're all like, wait, no, huh? And then they like in the classroom, you can hear them be like, oh man, because if they were somewhere else, then you're like, I have control over your screen now. As especially virtually, if you want to draw attention to just one screen, then you can do that. And then you can stop it also. Or you can just choose one if you want to just choose the one. It's up for pacing. So I just want that one screen. All the kids only will see that one screen. A lot of teacher controls. Again, that's like a teacher created that because they knew that'd be a thing that the teachers would want. Cool, so Crystal just invited Tina to the Desmos for Language Teachers group. Yeah, so there are, is that in Desmos? Or is that like a Facebook group? Desmos for Language Teachers.
It's a Facebook group. Crystal is super duper handy to have around. She knows so much.
Tina or Crystal?
So I don't know if she's still here, but she had showed me the
You're muted.
The Facebook group, and they have, I'm just looking at it, and there's so much.
Tina, you're muted.
Questions and answering and just going back and forth. So
wait, oh, what happened? Could you guys hear her? I couldn't hear her. I'm sorry. What the heck?
They let me unmute. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Tina. Try to be all fancy and then this things get messed up. You know what? Let's just disconnect this. No one's here. I don't need to have my headphones on. Let me just disconnect my headphones. I will learn this before my classes start.
I'm sorry, you guys.
Another cool part to this, I don't know, Carolyn, if you can hear me or not, but if you go to one of the slides in this presentation or in this Desmos, where they should all have the same answer, like a graph. You can click.
I heard same answer like a graph. That's all I heard because I was figuring out my audio. Like, yay, technology.
So okay, if you go to one of the Desmos slides in this presentation where they should all have the same answer, like in a graph form.
Let me stop this. Let me go back to my summary and click on like this one. Okay, so they should all have the same answer here.
Right, and so in the top left, it says responses highlighted. If you go to overlay, puts them all on top of each other. And I like doing that for transformations because it really shows them how many people with a darker image are in the right place and then how many people are a little bit off, stuff like that. It's cool.
Yeah, I think this one should have it too because it should have all the same answers. So you kind of see, there you go. So the darker ones are the ones that were right and then the other ones were the ones that were off. Although it looks like some of these still kind of worked, but yeah, cool. Yeah, the overlay, I forgot about that feature. I've used it before, but not a whole lot. So you could see, especially, and I think that's best usually when you have graphs or transformations, like you were saying, so you can really see what should be the same. Like this one doesn't have overlay, or it doesn't have responses yet, that's why. So here's one, that they should only have the one. So I go to overlay, here's those, and then this one's like off.
Yeah, I liked it for rotation specifically because you could see if they rotated too far or not far enough or in the wrong direction. And it didn't call out kids specifically, so they could like change it to the right place.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I like about the anonymized part because it really does show, like it shows responses, but not names. So, you know, if it's like, oh, look, they're wrong. Like, I don't want to do that to Arian. I want to be like, oh, we all make mistakes. It's okay. So like, I just put it so they can't see who said what. They know who they are because it'll show their name, but nobody else does. So, and it's always fun too, because these are all mathematicians or scientists. So like the kids will start looking up like, who's Mary Everest Boyle? And so they'll like highlight the name and then like go and see. They're like, oh, I could see that this is actually, when I'm in here, it showed me just a second ago, it showed me like who that student was. How did it do that?
Yeah, it's fun. I really want to incorporate more of my favorite no with that feature.
For sure. All right, so it's 11:48 and we are here till 12. So about 12 more minutes. If you could, whatever you did so far, add it to the Padlet. So it looks like some people are already doing that because you're amazing like that. So here's the Padlet again. If you could go in and add something to the Using Desmos for Higher Learning, which is where we were for.